Corona uninfected person speaks, coughs or sneezes, or through touching contaminated surfaces and objects. Anybody with a weakened body immunity has a greater risk of contracting coronavirus disease. People living with pre-existing medical conditions such as HIV, cancer, TB, diabetes among others must adhere to their treatment to strengthen immunity and therefore should ensure they have a constant supply of necessary medicines. Contact your clinic or health facility for information on how to access treatment. Help others within your network to access adequate supply of essential medicines. Ensure that you remain connected with your local networks for any support and follow the medical guidelines provided by your health facility to prevent coronavirus. Remember to stay updated with information on coronavirus using only trusted reliable channels. For more information on COVID-19, call 719 or dial *719#. COVID-19 is preventable. Protect yourself, your family, and the community. This message has been brought to you by the Government of Kenya and its partners.
And a political Sunday it was, as Amani National Congress party leader was in Mombasa County dismissing claims of any possibility of a coalition between the NASA core principles, while Speaker Justin Muturi insists that he is for peace and still the kingpin of the Mount Kenya region. We have details of that and much more, including the numbers does not look so bad. Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate is now at 5.7%, while Nairobi and counties in the Nyanza region continue to lead with the number of infections. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. It's time for Channel 1 Weekend. I'm Purity Museo. Let's begin with the highlights.
Let Kenyans have an opportunity to reflect on all the leaders that are available on the table and make a decision. Do not try and compartmentalize. Put people in a compartment so that you are either this side or this side.
ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi dismisses Raila and Kalonzo's NASA reunion claim ahead of the 2022 general elections as a pipe dream. Insists his name will be on the ballot paper.
They say charity begins at home. So here at home, we must be people who embrace peace and people who embrace unity.
Mount Kenya leaders march in different directions over the area's bona fide political spokesperson. People with albinism decry increasing cases of job discrimination and attacks as the world marks Albinism Awareness Day Sunday. Byron Abuli is our sign language interpreter tonight. Welcome to the broadcast. You can tweet us at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's begin our broadcast now. Amani National Congress party leader Musalia Mudavadi has dismissed the possibility of the National Super Alliance NASA core principles reuniting ahead of the 2022 election. Addressing the congregation on Sunday at Likoni PAG Church during his two-day visit to the coastal region, Mudavadi claimed the betrayal that rocked the NASA coalition immediately after the 2017 general election is beyond repair.
The unity of purpose displayed by two NASA principals Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka when they attended former Kibwezi MP Kalembe Ndile's burial on Friday might just be hot air if sentiments by their co-principal Musalia Mudavadi is anything to go by. Addressing the congregation on Sunday at Likoni PAG Church during his two-day visit to the coastal region, Amani National Congress Party leader Musalia Mudavadi dismissed the reuniting claims as a dead dream. He said the deficit of trust in NASA is irredeemable. Sentiments echoed by Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala.
Sisi tunataka tuende mbele. Tuliunda NASA. But let the truth be told. Honoring of NASA commitments has not been done. So if you want to try and take us back and you don't want to accept that there's a serious deficiency of trust, how do you expect us to believe you when you say you want to be in a coalition with us? Tuambie watu ukweli. So those who wanted to ask this question have made it very clear. There's a serious deficiency of trust.
Sisi tumesema we are no longer interested with a coalition that is abusive, with a marriage that is abusive. Hiyo ndoa ya NASA imekwisha ladha. Hatuna haja nayo. We want to find new partners. So hiyo dhana ya kusema kwamba ati mtatushikanisha tena kwa ndoa ya NASA, ningependa kusema hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana. We are focused to make Musalia the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya.
The ANC leader reiterated that he remains focused to be the presidential candidate in the 2022 general election.
Na mimi nataka tuunde serikali ambayo italenga pale, tusingie mambo ya ukabila, tusingie mambo gani, tuwe na serikali ambayo itaweka sera na mikakati ambayo itatoa shida hii kwa migongo ama mabega ya Wakenya.
Former National Assembly Speaker Kenneth Marende saying Mudavadi was the best presidential bet yet.
Na Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi yuko na maono. Tukileta yeye, hiyo mabadiliko itakuja mara moja haraka.
For Channel 1 News Hour Weekend from Mombasa County, I am Anburu.
National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi says he stands for peace and unity, scoffing at his critics who accuse him of dividing Mount Kenya region. These are the Service Party leader Mwangi Kiunjuri says it's possible for the region to unite in one accord to ensure it retains a seat on the political negotiation table ahead of next year's general election.
On Sunday, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi attended the golden anniversary of ACK St. Luke's Kenya Njeru in Kangema constituency in Murang'a County, where he scoffed off at critics accusing him of dividing Mount Kenya region, saying his only mission is to ensure the region is united and the people get to speak in one voice.
So we must have that peace and unity here in our region. Once we appreciate that, let everybody atembee kila pahali, kona zote. Tukiwa pamoja vile Mheshimiwa Kanini amesema, tutaweza pia kuunganisha nchi nzima.
Wale wengine wote ambao wanataka nyadhifa za uongozi katika ngazi zozote, tushikane pamoja. Tutakapotoa ushindi, basi tutakuwa tunasema sisi kama jamii ya Mlima Kenya tutakuwa tukiwa kitu kimoja.
His sentiments coming as the Service Party leader Mwangi Kiunjuri, who attended church service at the African Independent Pentecostal Church of Africa Kitengela, cited lack of unity of purpose among leaders, which he says is threatening the possibility of the region securing the presidential seat next year.
Because the people of Mount Kenya are also listening. They know their leaders. They will be able to say, you can do an opinion poll across Mount Kenya region. And I believe that whoever is running for president in this country, they have intelligence, they have a capacity to do research, to know who is the most popular person from Mount Kenya region.
At the same time, the Party of National Unity held a two-day meeting in Laikipia County to deliberate on their political ambitions 13 months to the general election.
PNU will seek to work with other parties who share our vision of a prosperous, united and peaceful Kenya. PNU will work with like-minded partners in the clamor for constitutional reform through BBI.
A similar consultative meeting was held by leaders from Igembe in Meru who vote to put aside their political differences and forge forward in shaping the region's social, economical and political landscape.
Have to have our own horse. Na ndio tunaona tuna consult na viongozi tutengeneze chama yetu ya Wameru. Pali hiyo nyati imeanguka, hata sisi tuwe na kisu yetu tunajikatia hapo.
Hii haitaendelea tena. Wacha kama ni kupasuka ipasuke, watu waende kivyao. Amtatukulia kwa mfuko kama njugu karanga permanently. You can cheat people sometime, you will not cheat all the people all the time.
Elsewhere, a section of Jubilee Party members meeting in Kiambaa constituency laid bare their frustrations in the hands of the party top organs as they campaigned for their candidate in the forthcoming parliamentary by-election, exuding confidence of victory. Meanwhile, a section of clergy in Kisii County have faulted the proponents of the Building Bridges initiative, urging the church to steer clear of the constitutional amendment debate.
Listen to the church and listen to the wananchi. We have something to say. If we are saying, we have a reason as to why we are saying what we are saying. We are able to see, and we want this Kenya to remain united.
And most of the people who come to church, they are the same people who go out and do politics. So we may not entirely be separate. And we have to stand as a watchdog over our nation.
Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
And on Sunday, Kenya reported 161 cases of COVID-19 from a sample size of 2,805 screened in the last 24 hours. The viral positivity rate now stands at 5.7%. The youngest patient is a 2-month-old infant, while the oldest is 91. Nairobi and Siaya counties lead with a number of infections, reporting 52 and 44 cases respectively. 177 patients recovered between Saturday and Sunday, 113 from the home-based and isolation care program, while 64 are from various health facilities countrywide. During a similar period, 14 patients succumbed to the disease, all of them being late reports after conducting facility record audits on diverse dates in the months of May and June. This now pushes the cumulative fatalities to 3,410. In other news, the government has put on notice individuals who have invaded part of the 16,000-acre Tana irrigation scheme land in Hola, Tana River County. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Water and Irrigation, Joseph Irungu, says private developers have put up permanent structures and story buildings on the scheme that is under the National Irrigation Authority. The PS now says the government will soon embark on demolition and eviction of the squatters to pave way for government projects.
Private developers and individuals who have encroached part of the 16,000-acre Tana irrigation scheme land in Hola, Tana River County have been ordered to vacate the land.
Naomba wale ambao wanaanza kujenga majengo katika shamba la NIA waanze kuhama, sababu tutabomoa. Natoa onyo.
Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Water and Irrigation, Joseph Irungu, while in Hola during an inspection tour of the construction of huge capacity water reservoirs for the National Irrigation Authority, say that any plan to change land ownership and usage can only be done in consultation with the National Land Commission.
Kwa hivyo wale ambao wananyemelea, sababu ilipokuwa halilimwi kuna watu walianza kunyemelea kujenga majumba. Hili ni shamba la kilimo na lilitengwa kufanya kazi ya kilimo.
Most of Hola town spaces are owned by the Tana irrigation scheme, but private developers, politicians and squatters took advantage of it lying idle to subdivide among themselves and develop. Leaders in Tana River County, however, say the eviction should not affect villages kilometers away from the town.
Na hii zamani ilikuwa inaitwa Hola Irrigation and Settlement Scheme. Mambo mengine kidogo kidogo hiyo tutafagia manager. Utupatie tu ile ushirikiano yako. Ile mambo kidogo kidogo ya hapa na pale nini ya town kule ni shida ya town, lakini shida ya wakulima.
Manyumba usivunje.
Sio haya, anasema biashara huko.
Wewe unafikia pengine utavunja hizo manyumba. Tunapenda tu utujengee majumba kama vile zamani, mkulima analima, anarudi hapo kwa nyumba yake, ni karibu kwa karibu tu. Nasema hii huku kama hapo kwa Mheshimiwa Reabai, hapa kia Rukungu, kia Mnyaka, tunaomba tujengewe majumba.
The Tana River County Government has a plan to relocate residents in villages prone to floods, which Governor Dado said will be relocated in 43 village clusters placed on higher grounds.
Moving on, the Albinism Society of Kenya have decried the downsizing of the annual budgetary allocations to the National Council for Persons with Disabilities for the 2020-2021 financial year for the close to 10,000 albinism in Kenya. The society has also raised concern over what it claims is continuous violation of their rights through job discrimination and frequent emotional and physical attacks from the society. The organization at the same time said lack of unity among its members has partially contributed to the tribulations people with albinism are currently undergoing in the country. The day was set aside by United Nations in 2015 and is marked on the 13th of June every year. This year's theme across the world is strength beyond all odds.
Surprisingly, from the assessment report, even the usual allocation as it was does not fully gather for all the needs of persons with albinism countrywide.
We invite international, non-state actors and all local private sectors players to combine efforts and play any role that they are able to play in order to ensure an enabling environment for all persons with albinism.
Nafaa zaidi kufanya mikakati ya kuhakikisha kwamba tumemaliza hizi kasumba za kishirikina hivi kwamba watu wanafikiri kwamba wakitumia miili yetu wanaweza kujitajirisha, na ilhali watu wengi hapa hawajatoka katika familia ambazo zina nguvu, sio? Kwa hiyo ni jambo ambalo lazima tuendelee kukabiliana nalo na kutoa mfano mwema. Sasa wakati unaposikia watu kama kina Muradhi wakisema ati pigmentation sio disability, tunaona kwamba ni wakongwe, wanafikira za kikongwe hizo. Bado hawana ule uelewa na tunawasamehe kwa sababu ya kutokujua, lakini wasipotoshe ulimwengu.
Nauliza mama, kwa nini nikitembea watu wananiangalia, kwa nini watu wananiita mzungu? So mimi kama mzazi nilitry kumbreakia down the simplest way venye kanaweza elewa kwa now. So nikamwambia, unaona wewe na mimi hatufanani, wewe uko na condition inaitwa albinism. So hata watoto wakikuangalia wakikwambia mbona wewe ni mzungu, jo wewe ni mrembo hivyo. Na kwa wazazi wenye wako na watoto kama hawa, I think inaanza na mzazi. Ukipenda mtoto, ukimappreciate, hivyo ndo society itambeba, itamchukulia. For example, kama kwenye tunakaa, the love tunampea everybody around ako sawa naye, so kila mtu ni declan, kila mtu anampenda, ni mtoto joyful.
Hiyo ilikuwa challenge mwanzo, but as we went on nilianza kujikubali, na I'm okay, I can socialize. Nilikuja kugundua this is not a curse. We are not different, but we are able different. That's the point. So kiona tukipita, don't stare at us.
Away from that, the Mara Triangle within the vast of Masai Mara National Park and Game Reserve in Narok County is celebrating 20 years of conservation efforts undertaken through public-private partnership. Mara Triangle Chief Executive Officer Brian Heath says that over the last 2 decades, poaching has been tamed in the 126 hectares triangle with 4,600 poachers arrested and 59,000 snares destroyed.
Mara Triangle is home to lots of wild flora and fauna, in addition to a wide variety of lodges that offer accommodation to the thousands of tourists who visit the region every year. The current healthy and safe ecosystem is as a result of a long-standing public-private partnership forged 20 years ago. Mara Triangle CEO Brian Heath says conservation of the 126 hectares wildlife habitat has not been a walk in the park.
Iko wakati ingine mimi nataka enda na Warden Cartom kwenda bridge. Namwambia ai pana usiende huko ni mbaya. Jangili inajaa. Hiyo area ya laga ya BBC. So hapa lakuwa tofauti sana.
Unajua wamesema kitambo hakukuwa na barabara. And wakati hiyo kumekuja na that issue of road network.
Masai Mara Chief Warden James Olesindio acknowledges that collaboration has eased the work of monitoring and ensuring safety of the wildlife within and outside habitats in the region.
Poaching, I think the Mara Conservancy is almost history. In fact, if any, you find that they even support Serengeti when it comes to anti-poaching activities.
The Mara Triangle Conservation Initiative has extended partnership with the Serengeti National Park in neighboring Tanzania, which the operations manager at Serengeti, Sergeant Elshifu Mwakishal, described is of mutual benefits.
Kama tungekuwa tunasema jangili wa Kenya akae Kenya, hatungeweza kufanikisha mpaka leo. Wala ingeonekana Masai Mara wala Tanzania hiyo ambayo ni national park.
Masai Mara National Park and Game Reserve is one of the world's renowned tourist destinations. The annual wildebeest migration witnessed between July and September has been dubbed the 8th wonder of the world. Additionally, millions throng the reserve for holidaying and research, earning the country billions of shillings in revenue. Irene Chuma Udim, Channel 1.
State of the education sector, education stakeholders now want an upward review of the capitation funds allocated to schools for both public primary and secondary schools. According to the stakeholders, public schools are currently facing a financial crunch occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, which has seen many parents and guardians struggle to meet their school fees obligations. Early childhood development education, which is crucial in a child's development, is also facing its fair share of challenges such as understaffing.
What are my prospects that we have begun?
A workshop by education stakeholders to validate early childhood development education brought to the fore a number of challenges facing schools, learners and teachers.
ECT is lacking in infrastructure, it is lacking in learning materials, it is lacking in teachers, and it is even lacking in training and even learning materials.
But funding to ensure such demands are met remains the core shortfall for county governments. Council of Governors Education Committee Chair Mutahi Kahiga says more needs to be done.
We do the hiring in our counties. At the same time, the Senate oversight committees are concerned about the huge wage bills. So we are between a rock and a hard place.
Already, most county governments are said to surpass the wage bill threshold of 35%.
This is something we must also work towards. We must decide on how much what percentages of our budgets must go to ECD if we are really committed towards changing that landscape.
According to the education stakeholders, more funding is also needed for training of disabled teachers who want to teach in ECDE.
And this cost of training, I think, needs to be borne by the state. And this is some of the things that we are pushing for, so as to raise the equality of everybody and ensure that you're meeting the extra needs that come in terms of being equitable to every child and every trainee.
The financial crisis, which is at the same time being experienced in public schools, has seen leaders call for maximum support for the institutions. A section of leaders have called for a review of the capitation fund for the public schools, saying the current one is ineffective.
This per capita does not work for small schools. I think there should be a kind of affirmative action. Maybe that we'll have to do through legislation to get an affirmative action to support growing schools. Because like this school they have 60, 90 students. So when you're given 5,000 per person, it's about 200. You cannot develop as much.
In the 2021-2022 financial year budget, 202.8 billion shillings have been set aside to support programs in the education sector. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
And a group of men from Meru County have gained popularity for embracing the principle of being job creators than job seekers and coming up with unique shoe businesses. The youth who operate at the Gorokomone market in the heart of the county specialize in different roles such as design, leather cutting, stitching to make the final project. Our reporter Ben Chumba brings you the story of the young entrepreneurs who now supply leather products to the neighboring counties. Take a look.
Located in Meru town, Gorokomone Leather Market, commonly known as Marikiti Leather Market, is not only the largest such market in eastern Mount Kenya region, but also popular for thriving shoemaking businesses.
Natengenezanga viatu vya shule na hata viatu vya ofisio. Hii kazi yetu saa ingine inakuanga si mbaya sana, juu ni biashara yenye unaweza anzisha na pesa kidogo na inakuwa kwa haraka.
It is here that we meet a group of youths who are the engine behind the enterprise.
Tunapatanga wateja mara kwa mara. Sana sana kama wakati ya kurudi kwa shule, tunauzia wanafunzi viatu na wanakuja kwa wingi.
Among them is Elias Kaimenyi, who has for many years dedicated his time and efforts to grow his business. He is among traders in the market who specialize in different aspects of making footwear.
Hii kazi yetu hatufanyi hesabu kwa kile mtu anapata kwa siku. Sana sana unafurahia wakati unaunda. Unajua unaweza unda viatu kama pea 5 leo ukose kuuza, uunde pea 10 kesho, lakini wakati ya kuuza unaweza uza yote kwa pamoja. Kwa hivyo tunafurahia vile unafanya kazi, sio kuuza.
They say shoemaking is a well-paying job, although currently the COVID-19 pandemic has affected operations.
Kila kitu imeenda juu sana. Hata ngozi, bei ya ngozi imeenda juu sana. Na pia bei ya sol na ngamu, hiyo bei iko juu sana.
Darasa zinarundi kwa hatua, unakuta darasa la 3, 4 zinarundi, wengine wanaachwa nyumbani. Lakini hapo mbeleni wakati shule ilikuwa inarundi kwa pamoja, ilikuwa mzuri zaidi.
With Ethiopia being the Africa's leader in leather processing, these small-scale traders want the government to reopen the country's leather industry to attract hundreds of millions of dollars in investment from exports.
Factories za kutengeneza ngozi, serikali inawalipisha ushuru, nao wanakuja wanapandisha ngozi. Sasa tunakuta materials zetu zinaenda zikipanda kwa siku zinapanda.
Tungeomba serikali tu tufungulie kampuni ile tulikuwa tunaenda kununua ngozi ya Kenya Leather. Kenya Leather sasa imefunga.
At the same time, they are urging the youth to join them in the informal sector and contribute to the nation building, rather than indulging themselves in social vices.
Tunafunzanga hata wanafunzi na wanashika kazi na wanakuwa mafundi kamili.
Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
And from the counties, the government has stopped mining of limestone at Tumua, Chuso sub-county. This follows an outcry from members of the public who questioned legality of mining operations in the area. More of this in the county news wrap.
Residents of Tuimuma in Kuso sub-county say Ndovu Cement Company started operations 2 years ago without the consent of the community, not that of the county government. According to Tuimuma Development Committee Chair Hiram Kasoni, they tried seeking answers from local leadership to no avail.
Hayo matatizo bado tuko naye na wananchi wanaendelea kuteseka. Hata saa hii tunaongea tunateseka. Amepiga mara 2, nyumba za watu zimeharibika na hatujui tutatokea upande gani.
Elsewhere, technical and vocational education and training TVET institutions will now focus on environmental sustainability by greening institutions as they train experts in various sectors of economy. TVET Director General Dr. Kipkurui Langat said the exercise will be carried out in over 2,500 technical institutions across the country.
We are pushing on greening of TVET so that as we train experts who are going to be in charge of various activities in sectors of economy, they will also be cognizant to environmental sustainability in whatever they are doing.
Ugandan Member of Parliament Mika Lole Makasile has warned female genital mutilation perpetrators who have been escaping to his country after cutting girls that the Ugandan government will arrest and prosecute them in a bid to reduce the rampant cases that also happen along the border of Kenya and Uganda. And residents of Redhill area in Limuru have raised health concerns over a proposed 5G data center project by Safaricom in the area. Led by their leaders, the residents claim health of nearby dwellers may be at risk if the project will be implemented.
This kind of project is put in secluded areas, meaning areas that where there are not a lot of people. But here it is being built right in the middle of a neighborhood that is agricultural, that is also that has a lot of institutions around here.
And Tiati Member of Parliament William Kamket has urged the national government and non-governmental organization to prioritize development in his constituency as a remedy to perennial insecurity.
Leo tunahitaji sio risasi, sio askari, sio hiyo mambo mengine. Tunahitaji watu wa kuja kusaidiana na sisi ili tusaidie kupanua mambo ya elimu katika jamii hii. Hii watu wanahitaji maendeleo kama Wakenya wengine.
Finally, the Rotary Club of Nairobi Langata has partnered with the Kenya Defence Forces KDF to commission the Olomayan Community Water Project worth 7 million shillings. The commissioning of the water project is a culmination of a 2-year transformative project which was carried out in 2 phases.
And the world leaders meeting in Cornwall, England, are to adopt strict measures on coal-fired power stations. As part of the battle against climate change, the G7 group will pledge to move away from coal plants unless they have technology to capture carbon emissions. It is the first time the leaders of wealthy nations have committed to keeping the projected global temperatures rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. The G7 leaders also agreed to align their positions on COVID-19 vaccines, funds for Africa, and fighting against pressure from authoritarian regimes.
Coal is the world's dirtiest major fuel, and ending its use is seen as a major step by environmentalists. But they also want guarantees rich countries will deliver on previous promises to help poorer nations cope with climate change. The G7 will end the funding of new coal generation in developing countries and offer up to $2.8 billion to stop using the fuel. Climate change has been one of the key themes at 3-day summit in KBC Cornwall. The leaders also set out plans to reduce emissions from farming, transport, and the making of steel and cement. They will also set to protecting 30% of global land and marine areas for nature by 2030 and pledge to almost halve their emissions by 2030 relative to 2010 levels. Addressing the summit, Sir David Altenberg, a naturalist, warned that humans could be on the verge of destabilizing the entire planet.
Scientific collaboration on COVID treatment and vaccines showed just how much we can achieve together when the goal is clear and urgent. We know in detail what is happening to our planet, and we know many of the things we need to do during this decade. Tackling climate change is now as much a political and communications challenge as it is a scientific or technological one. We have the skills to address it in time.
The leaders of the 7 major industrialized nations of the United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, Japan, France, Germany, and Italy also promised to convince the world's leading democracies to join in accelerating global vaccine deliveries to ensure the globe meets the demand for vaccines.
You're watching Channel 1 Weekend. Remember, you can weigh in on our content tonight. I'll be glad to sample your views and feedback during or at the tail end of this broadcast. We take a first commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We still have plenty more coming up shortly. Stay with us.
Bwana Motiso, pikipiki yako ndio hii. Uko shoni yangu. Hii pikipiki ni unakumbuka uniekelea the lowest unique bid yako ilikuwa ngapi? 18 shillings. Na unajua kuendesha hii gari? Kidogo. Haya, kitoko yako shika helmet, kifungu yako chomoka na mali yako.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Do you know that the policy document is evidence of the existence of an insurance contract between you and your insurance company? It is important to know the terms and conditions of your insurance policy. Make sure you obtain, read, and understand the terms and conditions of the policy document. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured. Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Nikitoa uhai, nikufe niondoke. Ndio ile shida niko nayo. Mimi mwenyewe niko na uchungu inanikula.
It's quite sad. Let's support such people. Kuna mtu ni mgonjwa. There are some things that you're not supposed to joke with. Let's not joke with life.
It's us to be that good Samaritan, helping that man who was lying on the road.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Now time for the sport. Welcome back. Kenya's cricket lioness on Saturday won a fourth Kwibuka Memorial Women's T20 title in Kigali, Rwanda after a 7-wicket win over Namibia. The Kwibuka tournament is one of the remembrance events of the 1994 Rwanda genocide, and Kenya has won 4 of the 7 titles since the tournament's inception.
Well done, Aaron and team. Thank you, Maggie and team.
The final was a repeat of the group phase match between Kenya and Namibia, in which the Southwest African nation won by 36 runs. In Saturday's final, Namibia won the toss and opted to bat and were all out on 69 runs in 15.5 overs. Player of the match, Sarah Bakita, was the chief destroyer of the Namibia batting lineup with 6 wickets, her second 5-wicket haul of the tournament.
Oh wow, Margaret Ngoche, she's made a statement here. Brilliant way for Kenya to get over the line. I think it's a 6, the first of the game. And what a way for Kenya.
The Idambo sisters, Lavenda and Melvin, took 1 wicket each, while Quinta Abel took a wicket and a run out. Namibia's best batter was Sylvia Shihepo with 16 runs. In reply, Kenya scored 72 runs for the loss of 3 wickets, and they got a 7-wicket win. Captain Margaret Ngoche top scored with 37 runs off 30 balls, including the winning 6. Sharon Juma added 16 runs and Quinta Abel added 10. Abel was named the player of the tournament with an all-round score of 31 points from her batting, fielding and bowling performance. The Kwibuka Women's T20 competition was started as a memory to those who were killed in Rwanda's 1994 genocide. For Channel 1 Sports, I am Daniel Wahome.
Home player Shiv Mandavia carded an impressive round of 45 points at the Sigona Golf Club to secure the overall winner of the club's leg of the 2021 NCBA Golf Series. Elsewhere, Kenya national Kabaddi team players have embarked on teaching the sport to interested youth from grassroots levels in the country. The team today took their awareness and recruitment drive to Ngandu area in Dagoretti, Nairobi.
National Kabaddi team, which comprises both junior and senior team members, has been going across Nairobi estates every weekend in the drive dubbed Kabaddi Mtaani edition to popularize the game, where they also recruit players in preparations for rollout of regional leagues. The drive combines amateur 7-a-side football as a way of wooing the youths to participate in the sport.
The idea behind it is to popularize Kabaddi, because we've realized that not so many people know about Kabaddi. So in the spirit of growing interest and making more and more people to know Kabaddi, to love Kabaddi, to play Kabaddi, we have decided now to bring Kabaddi into the people.
Wengi wanasikia Kabaddi lakini wajejua Kabaddi ni nini juu. Ukiambia msee unacheza Kabaddi nadhani Kabaddi game kama ball. So tunafanya kitu inaitwa Kabaddi awareness. Aim yetu ya kuja mtaani tuna create kitu inaitwa Kabaddi awareness. Tuna try to reach kwa watu mtaani kuelezea more about Kabaddi.
The team has so far toured Kayole, Babadogo, Githurai, Mathare and Kawangware. The team will be taking part in a World Cup qualifier match at Kasarani Stadium on 27th of this month. Elsewhere, home player Shiv Mandavia carded an impressive round of 45 points at the Sigona Golf Club to secure the overall win of his club's leg of the 2021 NCBA Golf Series. The handicap 32 players' imposing performance was enough to fend off the challenge by Sagabat, who carried 41 points to emerge winner in the men's category.
We held 3 events. This now will be the 4th one. There's about 4 of them that have been interrupted by the second lockdown that happened.
So it gives them an opportunity to interact in a leisure and relaxed environment, in a golf course. So that's the first one for us.
In the ladies category, Esther Ngigi shot an impressive round of 42 points to mark the lady winner ahead of Zipporah Washira, who carried 38 points to claim the runner-up position. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
De Guzman Rowena and Adre Chebet showed an impressive performance in their respective swimming categories as the Nairobi Swimming Gala culminated today at Makini School, Nairobi. The championship, which had attracted 109 swimmers, was used to prepare swimmers for the upcoming East Africa Championship set for November in Uganda.
De Guzman Rowena timed 1 minute 14.32 seconds to emerge victorious in the girls under the ages of 16 100 meters backstroke category, while Megan Irungu finished second, timing 1 minute 24.27 seconds.
Because of the lockdown, I've only been swimming for a couple of weeks, and I think as the gala went on, I could feel myself kind of getting used to the racing scenario, but as time went on, I could also feel myself getting more tired. So I think it depended on what event I wanted to do.
In terms of targets, I would very much like to swim for Kenya once again in the international scope. In terms of this year, I'd very much like to be selected for the Kana Zone 3 Championship.
In the girls' age 12 category, Audrey Chebet emerged victorious, clocking 1 minute 24.92 seconds, while Makena Keira finished second in 1 minute 34.96 seconds. Ali Imrana settled for the third spot. In the boys' 200 meters freestyle category, Neo Olengo finished first in 3 minutes 7.50 seconds, while Waziri Nathan finished second. He clocked 3 minutes 24.92 seconds.
It was very tough because at that time I was swimming with big people and they were older than me, so I had to keep up with them.
One of the advantages of this kind of event is the fact that you keep the swimmers out of the house, because they want to be out of the house but safely. So one of the successes of this event is that the COVID protocols were observed, and as a result, we were able to have a successful event.
The championship attracted 109 swimmers who now shift attention to the East Africa Swimming Gala slated for November in Uganda. Frederick Moki for Channel 1 Sports.
Kupata skiza tune hii, sala ya imani na matumaini, dial *811 *815 #.
Sala ya imani. Mungu wangu na sadiki maneno yote linalosadiki na linalofundisha kanisa Katoliki la Roma, kwani ndiwe uliofundisha hayo, wala haudanganyiki wala haudanganyi. Amina. Sala ya matumaini.
Ili kupata skiza tune hiyo ya sala ya imani na matumaini, dial *811 *815 *811 *815 #.
Banki imeconfirm pesa zimeingia. Congratulations Sam, gari ni lako sasa.
Shukran. Oi boss, suniache insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange.
We,
insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine. Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance inakava vitu gani?
Comprehensive motor insurance inakava gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia inakava passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali.
Kwani umenisahau mimi kama driver?
Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover.
Umenichanua. Rose, hata nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA. IRA, bima bora kwa taifa.
Welcome back. You're still watching Channel 1 Sports, and AFC Leopards will play rival Gor Mahia in the final of the FKF Cup after both sides won their respective semi-final matches played today. Leopards defeated Equity to book a finals date with Gor Mahia, who defeated Bidco United in the second semi-final. Both sides won their matches through post-match penalties.
AFC Leopards will play Gor Mahia in the final of the FKF Cup after the two giants went through their semi-final matches today. Leopards sailed through to the finals after edging Division 2 side Equity FC 6-5 on post-match penalties in a tight semi-final match played at Utali grounds. Goalkeeper John Oyemba was the hero of the day after he ensured Leopards reached the final by saving Stephen Ologi's penalty kick. Ingwe last won the title in 2017 when they beat Kariobangi Sharks 2-0 to win the then-called GoTV Shield. They play Gor Mahia, who defeated Bidco United 4-1 also on post-match penalties. The two sides were tied 1-1 at the close of regulation time. Ken Muguna had put Kogalo ahead in the 4th minute, and 9 minutes later David Orem equalized for Bidco. There were no more goals in the second half as the game went into penalties, Kogalo proving better from the spot.
England's Euro 2020 campaign got off to a satisfactory start with a 1-0 victory over Croatia at Wembley Stadium. Raheem Sterling repaid England manager Gareth Southgate's faith in him, sliding in the winner after 57 minutes following a perfect pass from man of the match Calvin Phillips.
It is England's regular back lineup now. The regular lineup that works every time, though. That was Mings to Sterling. And Sterling goes down to ground, and the referee says he handled it. Up steps Trippier, straight into the top of the wall this time, hands under the top of his head. Croatia getting busy, almost getting through. Tyrone Mings has stopped them from doing that, and he took a blow in. It's one, then two, then plays it into Sterling! That will do nicely.
Novak Djokovic won his 19th Grand Slam title after fighting back from 2 sets down to beat Greece's Stefanos Tsitsipas in the French Open final. Top seed Djokovic was in deep trouble before rediscovering his energy to win 6-7, 2-6, 6-3, 6-2, 6-4. The 34-year-old Serb's greater experience shone through as 5th seed Tsitsipas wilted in his first Grand Slam final. The victory moves Djokovic one major title behind the men's record jointly held by Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Djokovic, who previously won at Roland Garros in 2016, has become the first man to win all 4 Grand Slams twice since the fully professional Open era began in 1968. The world #1 will have the opportunity to move level on 20 titles with his great rivals Nadal and Federer, where he defends his Wimbledon crown later this month. And that's it for sports tonight. You know, it's Sunday as usual. Family Matters is on tonight, and we just want to give women a few tips on a healthy pregnancy, do's and don'ts, what you need to eat, what you need to avoid. Is physical exercise even important? We have our expert in studio tonight who will be helping us with our discussion. But before we get to the show, let me just sample some of your feedback tonight. William Mamburi, you're already on board following comprehensive bulletin from Watamu, and Andrew Njega, you will never miss Channel 1 Weekend. Thank you so much for your kindness. We also have a number of you watching. Enoch Manwa tuned in as usual. Thank you so much. From Murang'a County is Kim, Professor Kim, tuned in from Murang'a County. Many thanks for watching. Up next is Family Matters. Do stay tuned for that.
The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
And thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Family Matters. My name is Purity Museo. Now, one of the exciting, life-changing events for a woman is having a baby, and when you get those test results positive, it's all about excitement and sharing the news with your loved ones. But what next? What are some of the healthy tips of during pregnancy and even after pregnancy? Dr. Maureen Owiti is helping us with that conversation. You do not want to miss. You can be part of this discussion by interacting with us through our social media platforms at Purity_Museo and at KBC Channel 1 News. Use the hashtag Family Matters KBC to send in your questions, and we'll be glad to respond to them. It's good to have you in studio, Dr.
Very nice, and thank you for having me, Purity.
Yes, and pregnancy, you know, it sounds so easy, and maybe a little girl will be like, when I do this, I'll get pregnant. But is it as easy getting pregnant? Is it as easy as it sounds?
Okay, unfortunately, for a few people, it's not as easy as it sounds. We estimate that infertility will be in about 10 to 15% of couples. However, that means there's a vast majority who will get pregnant. So fortunately for a good number of people, pregnancy is something that just comes easy as pie, and they're able to get pregnant easily.
Yeah, I don't know whether we should define pregnancy, but allow me to ask you, how soon can one find out once they're pregnant?
it depends on how zealous you are. But normally, when you miss your period, like you have your expected date of the period, nowadays within a week, if you do a urine pregnancy test, they can turn positive. We say the normal kits that people use, the self-testing kits at home, should be positive at least 2 weeks from the missed period. For us, we count pregnancy from the first day of your last period. So we always get that confusion with patients, whereby I'm telling them you're 6 weeks pregnant, they're telling me, no, I'm only 4 weeks. And I'm like, no, we're counting from the day of your last period. The reason being, we can't know the exact date you ovulated and the exact date that conception actually occurred, whereas your period is a known event. And we know that a human pregnancy is normally 40 weeks from the first day of the last period, and it's plus or minus 2 weeks for a lot of people, other than those who have other complications that necessitate either the baby. From the time we expected you to have ovulated, they can actually be positive at that particular time, because it's going to give us the exact amount of hormone, of what we call the beta HCG, and that's the hormone that indicates that a woman is actually pregnant. It's released by the fetus, and that tells us that the woman is pregnant.
And you said it was not, getting pregnant it may not be as easy for some people. Maybe are there some of the things that a woman should do and not do when they're preparing to get pregnant?
And I think that's a new pet topic, and even for us as clinicians, it's something that we're also really trying to get into, and that's the issue of what we call pre-conception care. Okay, everyone knows that once you're pregnant, you have to go for this famous clinic. But actually, to be pregnant, women should actually start what we call a pre-conception. Ideally, that should be done minimum 3 months prior to the anticipated pregnancy. So in that type of screening, we look at we'll do a general health screen, rule out any diseases that somebody will have. So do they have diabetes? Do they have hypertension? Look into the family history if there's anything to worry about, and offer the women pre-conception supplements. The minimum we offer women would be folic acid, which has been shown conclusively to be responsible. So we have what we call a neural tube defect. So that's a very fancy name for these children who are born with either a lot of water in the brain or a hole in the back, what we call a spina bifida. And that group of diseases, we call them neural tube defects. So we can prevent a child having those abnormalities by the woman actually having started folic acid prior to the onset of pregnancy. So we actually do recommend that women should start. And if at all they feel coming to look for us is a bit of a heave, at least be on folic acid if you intend to be pregnant. There are more fancy supplements. I don't want to mention them for fear of looking like I'm advertising. But there are quite a number in the market. But as long as they contain folic acid, women should be able to take that, and that's the minimum. Obviously, we'll also guide them on lifestyle. So to improve their diet, they eating a balanced diet, healthy, the normal that we're always taught in school, lots of fruits, vegetables, drink a lot of water, and all the healthy things that you need to do. Look at alcohol. Can they reduce or altogether eliminate their consumption of alcohol? Definitely for smoking. We don't want women who are pregnant to be smoking. And use of illicit drugs. Those are all things that we go through and try to help women so that she's as healthy as possible by the time she wants to be pregnant. With that in mind, we wish the couple good luck and pray they come back soon enough for a consultation. What we'll say, if they're a young couple below 35 years of age, we'll tell them, have a year, give it a shot. You're not pregnant in a year, we're here. come and look for us.
And you mentioned that it's important for a woman to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Maybe you can tell us what is considered a healthy pregnancy and why is it important for a woman to maintain this healthy lifestyle during pregnancy?
Okay. Yeah. So like my husband has been making me very happy. He's been watching this Drug Inc. And you see all these young girls, they're hooked on drugs. Unfortunately, it's a pandemic also that seems to be catching up in our part of the world. It's not as serious as in other parts of the world, but it's something that's catching up. Children or fetuses that are exposed to alcohol, drugs, smoking are obviously can suffer some complications. Anything from congenital abnormalities in very severe cases. Some people can even lose a pregnancy, especially if the mother has OD'd, she dies. Of course, the baby is also going to die in that, as in if she's had an overdose. And obviously, there's also like what we call the fetal alcohol syndrome. We have the children are born with drug addictions. So those are not things you want for your baby. And even those who unfortunately are addicted to any form of substance abuse, I'm sure they also want healthy babies. So it's just how to give them that preconception care, lifestyle management, so that they're carrying a pregnancy that's overall going to be healthy in the long run, and the baby is going to be healthy when the baby comes out.
Yeah. The stages of pregnancy, first, second, and third trimester, maybe how do they look like and what should women expect during each stage? Yeah.
Okay, now, again, we just arbitrarily divide it, but again, it's like what happens during those different trimesters are very different. So first trimester is the interesting one from point of view. You know you're pregnant and you feel pregnant for majority of women. There are some lucky women who have absolutely no symptoms of pregnancy and look like the world is a bunch of roses. Yeah. But for most of people is when you have the nausea in the first trimester, and that is the first 14 weeks of pregnancy. So they have the nausea, the bloating, the can't stand onions, can't stand eggs, I don't want to see fish, I can't drink water, I'm throwing up all the time. Now that's a typical first trimester.
But so that's normal, very normal.
It's normal, but we also have people who really have very severe cases. Yeah. So the worst case is what we call the hyperemesis gravidarum. And that's when they have vomiting, they can't stop. They're vomiting throughout. And the challenge is if you keep doing that, you lose salts. And when we measure your electrolytes, like your sodium, potassium, and you can actually get very, very sick to the point even you can have some problem even up to the brain because of this severe vomiting. So we have to even admit them, rehydrate them, balance their salt. So it can be very challenging for some women. Yeah. There are other complications, first trimester that can occur, and that's why we do monitor. I'm one of those who's a fanatic of early ultrasounds to discover the location of the pregnancy, because this is where you discover ectopics, this is where you discovered miscarriages. Those are the type of complications. First trimester, so it will be the nausea and vomiting of pregnancy, the worst case being the hyperemesis that I mentioned, and the bleeding problems in pregnancy, and that we call that a threatened miscarriage or even up to a miscarriage. So those are some of the issues you may experience in the first trimester. But if you're not having any issues, we thank God. It's not unusual not to have those symptoms. You're just one of those lucky people that don't seem to have the symptoms of early pregnancy. We move on to the second trimester. That will be between 14 to 28 weeks of pregnancy. This normally for most women is the best part because you know you're pregnant, but you don't feel pregnant. The nausea for most people, up to 95%, by the end of the first trimester, a beginning of second trimester, it's a thing of the past, so no more nausea, hallelujah. We thank God for that. And as I said, you know you're pregnant, but you don't feel pregnant. So your bump is just beginning to show and just beginning to come out. This is when you actually experience your first fetal movements. So you find that for a first-time mom, maybe around 16, 18 weeks of the pregnancy, that's when they start perceiving the movements of the baby. I have a challenge with some of the old women. They're waiting for kicks. You know, you're told they're kicks. But the initial movements are something very, very slight. You feel like something has just passed slightly, or a butterfly. And everyone has in fact, I want to write a book on women's perception of first fetal movements, because everyone tells you something so different. I've heard everything from they feeling like it's gas movement has come out. Others tell you they feel worms. Personally, mine I felt was a butterfly moving inside my stomach. So it's so funny how women describe that first movement, but I find it very interesting. Then, so this is a time, at the first, I forgot the first visit, I like to have what is called a birth plan with the woman, because especially if she's going to be having a private delivery, it can be a huge undertaking in terms of cost. So deciding, is she going to a private facility, is she going to a public facility, and if any emergency occurs, what hospital would she like to go to? So it's always good to have a birth plan with the woman. So if they haven't tied that up, we do that. A lot of the vaccines, a lot of the tests, you find you've done, say maybe your HIV test.
That's during the second?
All that we do, okay, like the screening we do in the first trimester. And at every visit, we normally are going to check things like your blood pressure, your pulse, a urine test, just to monitor and ensure that you're doing fine during the pregnancy. So let's just say we found somebody was HIV positive in the first trimester. We normally are not going to start medication until the second trimester. So that's after 14 weeks of pregnancy. So that's the time when you can really initiate. So if you're finding that there's anything unusual, you initiate some form of treatment at that point in time. So it's very interesting, but I say so now if they haven't decided on a hospital, because they can still move around, they're not heavy or not having those issues of I can't move, I can't sit, can't breathe. Walk around, enjoy yourself. We're advocating now for pregnant women to exercise. I know previously it was more a relaxed approach. Let's relax, but we're actually advocating that pregnant women should be more physically active during the pregnancy. And this, since I've started doing this, I've noticed I'm having quite a number of people having very successful normal births just because of that. Second trimester, really nothing much happens, just the baby's growing, movements start, and we continue the visits. So we normally see women at least once a month, and they can continue with the supplements that we give them during pregnancy.
Right. But then there are a lot of changes, emotional changes and physical changes during pregnancy. And for a first-time mother, it can be overwhelming. Maybe what are some of the changes that a woman should expect during pregnancy?
Okay, hormones are one of those things whereby I feel even just with the onset of the pregnancy, everyone's different. So there are those people who become more emotional, and I feel you'd notice it more in the first trimester. By the time you're in the second trimester, people seem to be more relaxed, more balanced. The hormones, some of them come down, so you find it's not as bad. The other time we're worried about hormones is after the delivery, because there's that change. Your hormone levels really drop drastically after delivery, so there's that type of imbalance. But normally you'd notice it more during the first trimester if she's going to have that instability and she's getting sensitive and emotional about things.
And the physical change, one of them is the weight gain. You know, is it normal? What is considered normal weight gain, and what should worry a woman? You know?
Okay, it's very obvious, and typically a majority of women, especially those who are having the nausea and vomiting of pregnancy. And again, remember, you have the reduced appetite in the first trimester, okay? So actually, quite a lot of women actually lose weight during the first trimester. And they're all worried, oh, is it something wrong? I'm supposed to be gaining weight. I'm like, no, just relax. Let's just try to get how to improve your appetite and just wait out the first trimester. Once the nausea and vomiting stops, you'll start gaining the weight. But on average, they should gain weight. Weight gain should always be between 1 to 2 kilos per month, not more than that. The entire duration of the pregnancy, a good weight gain would be about 10 kilos, max 15 kilos. If you're gaining more than that, then that would be excessive weight gain, and that's more to you. And it's really understanding that the weight gain is not just the woman adding. It's not that she's the one who's adding weight. This weight is your blood volume. Your blood volume will account to almost a liter, and a liter of fluid would be equivalent to a kilo. Okay, so if by the time the baby is born you find you've gained, say, 10 kilos, we can already say that 3.5 kilos of that is the baby itself. 1 kilo of that already is the uterus. Half a kilo is the placenta. Then we have another kilo for the blood volume, and we're already at something like about 6-7 kilos, and the rest is also you yourself have not gained weight. So maybe just something like slight 3. I've actually had some people who, for one reason or another, were looking after their weight very well, and they actually had, by the time they gave birth, it was like they've actually lost weight during the pregnancy, but that's unusual. So it should nothing. If you're gaining 1-2 kilos per month, that's an adequate weight gain. More than that is not so good. First trimester, don't stress if you're not gaining weight.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that if you are, let's say, in your second trimester and you realize, oh, I'm gaining a lot of weight than recommended? Do you reduce your intake of food? Do you exercise more?
That's now we'd really have to look at. So what we'll look, and what I tend to, and these are the things which I've said during the preconception counseling, you've gone through their diet, exercise, and all of that. So those are stuff you've already gone through. So it's just a balanced diet, and they look at weight gain, especially weight gain, look at carbohydrates. Look at carbohydrates. So try to do more vegetables, and especially the leafy green vegetables. The beauty about leafy green vegetables is that they have, they make you feel full, but they have minimal calories. Unless you're cooking like us, Wajualuas, and I've put half a packet of fresh cream in everything. Obviously, the cream is the culprit. But if you're just cooking normally, lightly frying or even boiling, vegetables really have very little caloric intake, so you're not going to get weight. So it'll just be to look at their diet. Again, we'd also have to look at, is this somebody who has a family history of diabetes? Can we check? We normally, again, in the second trimester, we do a special test to see if this woman is developing the diabetes of pregnancy. So pregnancy is one of those conditions that can actually predispose, that you find that the glucose, that is the sugar metabolism, gets distorted during the pregnancy. So that could also be another reason. Again, preeclampsia, because they're retaining a lot of water, so they actually seem like, so that's the high blood pressure during the pregnancy. And you can have those who have the early onset, and because of that they're gaining weight. So we just look at it, is it the diet, or is there something else that's causing this excessive weight gain? Yeah, and you mentioned the importance of physical exercise and fitness during delivery. Maybe apart from helping with during delivery, easing the process and also the weight gain, do we also have benefits of physical exercise during pregnancy? Definitely. As I said, for the delivery themselves, even how she bounces back post the pregnancy. I have a patient who, like, the next day I was like, Kwani, why are you sharing us? She looked like she has never even carried a baby, and just like, wow. It was so amazing. So maybe it's her genetic predisposition, I don't know, but we thank God. But she's also somebody who was quite physically active, so I think also that that helped. And even just for any person, it does not harm to have a good level of physical activity.
And let's talk about what a woman should not do during pregnancy.
Okay. Now, I'm one of those doctors. I'm not a don'ts. I'm moderation. For me, do everything in moderation. The don'ts, I think we discussed, very, very clear. So it's the alcohol, smoking, illicit drugs. Those were very, very clear that those we shouldn't be doing. But for everybody now, You'll tell them, don't take spicy food. You're in the first trimester, and that's the only thing that can pass your throat. Now, do I want her to starve? Do I want her to eat something? So we'll tell her, like, maybe minimize, don't have to have so much, but at least if it's going to aid and help you to eat, can have a little bit to at least make her be able to swallow something. So, but I'm one of those, whatever you do it in moderation.
Right. In case of some, let's say, complications, unhealthy complications, what are some of the possible causes for complications during pregnancy, and any early signals for that?
Okay. Now, and that's the challenge. There are some complications we cannot see them beforehand, that they're going to occur, whereas there's some complications that you can easily pick up. For the patient, you find your blood pressure is elevating. Unless the blood pressure is really, really high, you may not get headaches, you may not get visual disturbances, you don't feel that there's something wrong with your blood pressure. And hence the importance of the clinic, because it's a routine test. We just check your blood pressure, and I can tell you this is normal blood pressure, this is elevated blood pressure. The blood pressure is elevated, okay, can we do X, Y, Z? And can we keep it under control? We're not able to keep it under control. What are our other options? Can we do something so that we don't lose? Because it's one of those really, really bad obstetric emergencies. A woman can die because she develops what we call eclampsia, or even that high blood pressure, we call it, of pregnancy, we call it pre-eclampsia. They have some severe symptoms. It can knock off your kidneys. It knocks off all systems in your body, and it can eventually lead to death. Whereas if this was somebody who was being followed up regularly in the clinic, it's picked up early, and we manage before she gets any severe complications. And it's the beauty of working in both the public and private sector. And we are having discussions with my colleagues at work, and you find to get a woman in the private sector who's having severe symptoms because of this high pressure is very rare. Whereas in the public sector, you find that almost on a daily basis, you're losing somebody because of this complication. And the only difference is the frequency of monitoring and the level of expertise that women are being offered, so that we are not seeing in our private clients these bad complications, whereas in the public clients, where they're really getting bad complications. So it's how to reach women, and I thank you also for having this program, to just encourage women, please, you're pregnant, and please don't imagine that because you've had a second child, a third child, you don't need to go for clinic. Things change, and you get a complication because of age, okay? So you find age, an older patient is more likely to get the high blood pressure, diabetes in pregnancy. So clinic is very important regardless of the number of pregnancy. The best clinic attendees are always the first-time moms, because we don't know, we want to go to clinic. But the moment we've had a first baby, wanapima tu, it's like even you know what they're going to do. Watapima tu pressure, alafu watakwambia watafinya mtoto, alafu naambiwa enda nyumbani. You don't know that blood pressure monitoring can save your life. Yes.
Okay.
So
I actually wanted to ask about that, but I'm told time is not on our side, but not before. We've talked about the mom, but not the child. Maybe you can leave us with a few tips on taking care of the baby while he or she is still there.
Attend your clinic. Will give you the right guidance. And for you, it's, as I said, we start the supplements before pregnancy. We take most of the blood boosters during pregnancy, and just live a healthy lifestyle. Look after yourself. Baby will be looked after by God.
And when you look after yourself, you've looked after the baby.
Yes, automatically.
Okay. And something I'm taking home, like when you're eating, you're not eating for two.
No, we don't believe in eating for two. At least I don't believe in eating for two.
Okay. Okay, Daktari, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate that's all the time we had for the show tonight. Many thanks for your company. I'm Purity Museo. Do enjoy the rest of our programming, and good night.
Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000 706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, greetings, Massive and crew. Welcome to the Big Bad Show. This is The Rave, where radio meets TV each and every Wednesday. Live on KBC Channel 1 and KBC Radio Taifa. You see me? This your man, you're bad. Wanna listen to my radio. Here's some tune that's speaking. Dance like this. Yeah, regular dancing. Tunadunda dunda easy. This your man, you're bad. This is where we play with the latest and the greatest, from homegrown artists to international reggae stars.
Check in The Rave with Junior Dread and DJ Stano
every Wednesday from 10 p.m. If you blink, you miss the link.
If you ain't going my way. The greatest rally in the world is back in Kenya. Catch all the action of WRC Safari Rally live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1 from 24th to 27th June. See the world's best drivers navigate their machines on Kenya's rough terrain at breakneck speeds. Experience the thrills, adrenaline, drama and excitement as man and machine do battle. Don't miss out. WRC Safari Rally, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Mimi kwa nikitoa uhai nikufe niondoke, ndio ile shida niko nayo. Mimi mwenyewe niko na uchungu inanikula, kukula ni stress, watu wananipotelea mpaka mimi nashindwa kwani mimi ni mtu ama ni mnyama. Watu wananipotelea juu ya kunuka kwangu. Tukaenda nikamwambia baba yangu sitaweza kutulia. Ngoja niende hospitali nyingine. Bila wataniambia ndio nitafuata. Sasa mimi mali nimefika sasa. Mimi nienda hospitali nyingine inaitwa Nyojoro. Nikakuta daktari. Nikamwambia daktari, wewe utafanya mimi nipatie dawa. Ile dawa ya kudunga ili mtu asikate asisikie uchungu. Mimi daktari akaniambia hapana, unaenda kufanyia nini dawa? Kaniambia mimi dawa siwezi kuuzia. Akakataa na hiyo